So we just finished unpacking, and now the cool bit, which is where we get to go in and work out exactly how to use the Shogun. So you can see that it operates very similar to our current operating systems with our record, play, menu, all of our waveform monitoring, monitor assists and tagging functions in there. Again, you touch the screen, you get a clear screen. We've got a 1920-1200, which gives us this band of controls, which are obviously removed from the screen, which is very handy. So what I'm using here is an SSD. I'm recording to ProRes HQ directly from the GH4. Now this GH4 puts 10-bit out. You need to go into the settings of the camera and choose HDMI output as 422 10-bit. That will mean you can't record internally, but what it means is you get the lovely 10-bit from the sensor over HDMI straight to the Shogun. Now, to put a few people's minds at rest, our HDMI is 10-bit, always has been and always will be. The next thing that I want to show you is some of the cool functions that we've got. So first of all, we've got our HDMI in and out, and we can loop out HDMI. We've also got SDI in and out and gen lock on the back of this unit. The next thing is setting up your shot. So here I am with my GH4, I've got 10-bit coming in. I'm recording directly to my SSD, which is plugged in at the back here. Again, I can choose multiple SSDs, SanDisk, OCZ, Kingston, Intel, Transcend, etc. They're all available. Waveform. Let's check my exposure settings. Now I've got a few waveform functions, waveform down the bottom here. If I just throw my hand in front of there, I've already set this level up. It's not too bad. I could probably adjust it down a little bit, but I'll leave it there. If I touch the corner, I get the full waveform across the screen, and if I go into the main mode, then I've got the same thing. So also I can adjust the transparency of this. Boom, transparency down, I can still see my image, or I can whack it back in the corner and I can still see what's going on. Very, very beneficial. If I want to get rid of that, my overlay stays with the waveform, but everything else is removed. These are my new menu structures. I can change the size and display in here. Okay, so that's waveform. I'm going to leave that on down there, shore it up a little bit in there, so I can see that all the time. If I want to do my vector scope, that's also available. Vector zoom is available. I can make that full screen, and we can make it fully touched. So if I now go in, I'm going to go back to the Luma. If I touch on here, next thing is my focusing. I've set up my exposure. I've got a few exposure tools in here, like Zebra. I'll whack that up to 90% or down to 70%. You can see I've got my Zebra on there. Again, false color for faces. Astro Boy's face is perfectly exposed there. And then I've got blue only to check my noise. There's no noise coming from this sensor at the moment. It's a beautiful crisp image on my beautiful crisp screen. My guides are here as well. I've got my TV guides and I've got my cinema guides, which are the next one along, which show me the 239 to 1. So all of those guides are in there as requested by customers. The next feature is my favorite. First, I'm going to do a 2-to-1 zoom. I can move anywhere around the screen like this. I can also move the little square inside the screen square there and set up exactly where I want the shot to be. That's 1-to-1. If I put on peaking, you can see I'm in peaking mode. This is the outline mode. If I adjust my focus, you can see I'm very easily showing the peaking there on Astro Boy's helmet. If I then change to black and white, again the same, and I can adjust my colors. And then I go into color focus, which is our normal focus peaking. I'm going to leave it in color focus here and go into 2-to-1 zoom. So now I am zoomed in 2-to-1 on 4K. So I've got an 8K image that is really large around. So I can move around the screen and go down to the characters at the bottom there of my scene. I'll choose the Ashes urn for all of you UK people. That Ashes urn is Australia's right now. And I will zoom in and out on my 2-to-1 zoom. Definitely crack the focus there. You can see I'm all red. If I zoom back out, now my whole scene is in focus. This is a very, very useful feature. If I think, oh, I'm not sure about this little guy, then I'll go in and shore it up for him and back out. Now, if I turn the overlay off, then I've still remained my little box here. I can move around. I can also do it anywhere on the screen. Very convenient, very easy to use. And actually, to be honest, the focusing tools are great, but often on this screen, you don't really need to to do the focus peaking. It's more like a check because the screen is so crisp and clear. You can see my audio level meters here. If I touch on the audio, then I've got my 12 channels of digital audio, 8 channels in HDMI, 12 in SDI, and then 2 channels of analog audio coming in here. So this is the next main setup point, which is the audio. So I'm going to grab my Rode microphone. Thanks to the guys at Rode, especially Scotty, sending these so quickly so we could do this video. Here is, I'm plugging in. I need to turn my phantom mic on, and now I have my microphone. This is a Rode microphone, boom mic. You can also use handheld mics, etc. We've got our input gain here. I'm going to drop it down a bit because this mic's quite sensitive. And you can see I'm in a good range there. So I'm now all ready and set up to go. On the output, I can also gain my output up and down, and I can adjust my audio level meters down here to show all the audio that's visible, or I can show the 2 channels that I'm monitoring. If I want to monitor the analog channel, now I'm monitoring the analog channel, so that when I close the audio menu, everything is one touch away, and then I'm back ready to record. And so now I've set up my shot, my sound's pretty good, I'm watching my microphone, then I hit record. So now I'm recording. We can also trigger from the GH4 with their new firmware update. We can trigger from the Sonys, we can trigger from the Canons, we can trigger from pretty much almost any camera that's a modern camera out there that has HDMI's start-stop trigger protocol, which actually we invented and have released as an open standard. The other thing I want to show you, the last thing, is that we've adjusted the input page. HDMI source, video in, we can trigger from HDMI or different sources. I need to stop recording, then I can adjust the trigger. So HDMI trigger is what I would want. And now I'm also looping out 10-bit 422 over HDMI and over SDI. So at the same time, I am double conversion, HDMI loop out and then conversion to SDI, so I can run to an external monitor, etc.